Welcome to the shit show, punk bitches.
Don't go to fucking school. If you get inspired by Rudy, you're a fucking loser. Any grown adult on TikTok should be registered as a sex offender. I'm political poison. Nobody running for office wants to touch me except maybe Joe Biden. Sex would probably be really annoying if they had to stop to bitch about how entitled millennials are. It's time to get rid of the boomers. You should gas up your meth-addicted cousin Shane the same way you support Lizzo. Hello, friends. Welcome to this week's episode of Deepish Thoughts. Things are very, 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 very bad right now, if you haven't noticed. And here's my thing. They're already bad enough. We don't need the media making fake sensationalist stories like they are. No, let's address two things right now. That video of aliens was fake. They did not sit there for 8 hours until 9:30 at night in Idaho, where that video was supposedly at, and the sun never even started to go down. That was fake. If you watch that for 8.5 hours, for the entire 8.5 hour duration, if you sat there and watched that, you should kill yourself. Because you have nothing going for you. Just get it over with. Also, Yellowstone is not going to erupt. Okay, hundreds of volcanoes a year, hundreds of earthquakes a year hit Yellowstone in clusters, and it doesn't erupt. You know why I can say things like this? Because if Yellowstone does erupt, none of you are going to be around to tell me that I was wrong. But it's not going to. And you always get those fake, fucking wannabe nihilistic posers with their Facebook memes. Oh, I just wish Yellowstone would erupt. These people, this is their coping mechanism. They don't actually wish aliens would invade. They don't actually wish Yellowstone would erupt. In fact, they sit there every night terrified of this. They have nightmares. They piss the bed at night because of this. This is their coping method. You want to know how I know? Because I'm a comedian. And the best way I make fun, the way I go about making fun of things is typically something that's bothering me. That's how I take the power away from a bad thing. If you listen to my stand-up, a lot of references. I went through a melanoma scare. I wrote a lot of those jokes when I thought I could have had melanoma. My jokes about, my mother's substance abuse. Those are how we cope with things. These people piss the bed. They don't want Yellowstone to erupt. They're terrified of that. But their coping method is to make fucking dry humored memes about, oh, Trump's president, I wish the world would end. They don't. They're terrified of that. But anyway, life is bad right now in America. It's really, really bad. And a lot of it's been caused by the government. And somehow the solution is going to be at the very end of this, once everything goes back to normal, the solution will be to add more government. That's what it is every time, is more government, even though the government is the root cause of all of this. The riots, they started the riots, they can't stop the riots. In fact, in many cities, they are egging the riots on, supplying bricks to protesters, just casually leaving pallets of bricks that they bought at Home Depot and Lowe's. But we're coming towards a civil war, not a race war. Maybe not really even a class war. An ideological war. We're coming toward it. Society's going to collapse pretty soon. Right now, you're deciding whether you want to cook burgers or hot dogs on the grill last weekend. Last weekend you were deciding that. In a couple months, you're probably going to be deciding which of the family pets you want to eat. So the best way to deal with that stress is to go to NorthSpokaneCBD.com and use the promo code DRUNK for 15% off your order. North Spokane CBD has the best motherfucking CBD around, and it will help you in the apocalypse. It's probably going to be out of business when the world ends. I can't imagine that C. Michael Pickens is going to be standing there still slinging CBD at the end of the apocalypse, or in the beginning of the apocalypse. Maybe for a couple days, but I don't think he's going to hold out that long. But leading up to it, it's a great way to relax yourself, ease the stress. THC, non-THC, if you're sober and weird about that, or you have a job that drug tests, you can get it as flower, so you can feel just like you're smoking a joint, like the degenerate you are. Let's address the elephant in the room, because it's been about a year's worth of shit in the last week since we last spoke. I want to make this clear to the, why didn't you talk about George Floyd? I pre-record these videos in the week. Stuff happens. It's kind of like the John Oliver thing. Stuff happens after I record them. The George Floyd video, I recorded that video on I recorded last week's video on Memorial Day. I had gotten home from dinner at my dad's house, and I made the video. It was a quick one. I was exhausted. I didn't check the news. I didn't check social media. It's not that I don't care. I'm disgusted by it. It's that the timing was bad for when I when I recorded that video. It was before I had the chance to check the news. Maybe I should get better at that. I just wanted to shoot off at what was on my mind at the time. There was already plenty of shit to go on about. So I apologize for not being able to predict the future. If I could predict the future, I wouldn't be doing this. I would be scamming the stock market and winning millions on sports bets with casino bosses having hits on my head everywhere, all over the country. So I apologize. I would be winning a lot of money gambling like the degenerate that I am, the degenerate family that I came from. So I apologize for that. I really do. Let's talk about what happened, though. So you had some protests. You had some peaceful protests. You had some not so peaceful protests. You had 14-year-old girls getting hit with pepper spray and tear gas. You had, that's not okay. It's a militarized police state. It's disgusting. The devil's been in the details for years. But you had 14-year-old, 15-year-old girls getting hit with tear gas. Now, questionable parenting moves to have those kids there, for sure. But shooting chemical weapons at kids is also slightly more fucked up than bad parenting. You know? Unless your parents are sending you to Jesus camp. Great documentary. Go check it out. Then naturally, once he smelled that 14-year-old girls were there, Joe Biden arrived at the scene. He started posing with protesters, probably thinking it was 1968. Completely confused. He has no idea where the hell he is, what's going on. He was just told to go out there and stand. If you watch the video, he met with black pastors. He has got a handler walking him up to the stage because he has no idea where the fuck he is. Not a clue. Completely confused. Joe Biden gets up there. Now, I know what happened to that Rodney King fella was a little messed up the other day, but I just no idea where he's at. Probably going to make some blatantly racist remark. It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before Joe Biden, again, pisses down his leg, both literally and figuratively. Literally because he's so old he can't control his bladder, and figuratively because it's just another fucking media blunder. He's going to come out there and be like, all right, we got to stop the riots because you folks are acting like you're off the plantation right now. And for whatever reason, we're still going to keep electing these jackasses. We're going to elect one of these two jackasses. Excuse me. For some reason. So, anyway, we had peaceful protests. We had not so peaceful protests. We had in my city, which is run by complete imbeciles, I might add, Gene Stothert, who referred to someone with a Korean character name as hiding behind a coward who's hiding behind fake characters when they clearly had like some type of Asian heritage. I mean, I wouldn't have known they were Korean text either, but you can tell that they were something of another language, and she called them a coward while she's in the middle of being accused of racism. So great move by Gene. Great move by our lovely governor, Pete Ricketts, to refer to a group of black pastors as you people. I love how people are shocked that these people are racist. I would be more surprised if Jean Stothert wasn't a racist. I'm not saying she's burning crosses in people's yards, swastika tattoos on her neck racist. She's that subtle baby boomer. Why do those people play their music so loud racist? That's what Jean Stothert is. And if she extends this curfew, she is a fucking coward. And I'm not just saying that because I have a show that's on Saturday, where all the proceeds go to the food bank for the Heartland, by the way. So, if that hypocritical, tyrannical cunt really wants to extend the curfew to flex her arm, then let her. But she's going to be taking money directly out of hungry people's mouths. I haven't been doing comedy for 3 months. I can't afford to just write a check and make up the difference. I'm sorry, I can't. Which is why you should go to NorthSpokaneCBD.com. Use the promo code DRUNK for 15% off your order so you can help me make a little bit more money. So we had Jean Stothert piss down her leg, social media blunder. We had Killer Mike come out and make a statement begging people to respect the police and not be violent in a shirt that said, "Kill your masters." Killer Mike, famous gangster rapper, staple mark of Atlanta, comes out begging for people to respect the police and be nonviolent while wearing a shirt that says, "Kill your masters." I mean, gangster rap. It's all about fuck the law, do what you want to do, smoke weed, but respect the police, okay? Respect the officers. I was the son of a black Atlanta police officer. Respect the badge, buddy. Hey, I know that cop just pulled you. I know that cop just pulled you out of your car at a traffic stop and beat you into a coma because he thought he smelled weed, had a dog rip your arm open. But that cop could have been my dad, so you need to respect him. Gangster rap. Let's go through the updated Killer Mike Killer Mike song lyrics, shall we? Here we go. This is Big Beast by Killer Mike, Bun B, T.I., who was also on there. Hardcore G shit, homie. I don't play around unless you're an Atlanta police officer. Then I completely respect you and I will abide by the law. Ain't shit sweet about to peach this Atlanta clown. Home of the dealers and the strippers of the clubs, though. And every single one of them respects the police. Catch you coming out that Magic City with a snub, ho. But you better inform the officer that you've got it in your glove box if you get pulled over, goddammit. Lurking in the club on tourist motherfuckers. But not on if the police ask me to stop, I'm going to go home. Welcome to Atlanta. Up your jewelry, motherfucker. I'm not going to say that next line because I'll get canceled. Pow, motherfucker, pow, come up off that chain. Pow, motherfucker, pow, one off in the brain. But if a cop shoots you, you need to respect him because that could have been my father. We some money-hungry wolves, and this is my favorite. We some money-hungry wolves, and we're down to eat the rich in a non-violent way. Eat the rich non-violently. Your bodyguard ain't shit. We strip him like a stripper, bitch. So if he's private security, we'll kick his fucking ass. But if he's a cop, I'm going to respect him because it could have been my father. These real-ass killers move in silence with violence. The minute it's set off, we're the motherfucking wildest. How you from Atlanta that they never speak upon, where everybody got a sack of dope and a gun? I sounded like I was at poetry night there. Everybody got a sack of dope and a gun, but if that cop tells you to turn that dope and gun over, you better fucking do it. Because that could have been my father, and you need to respect my father. So Killer Mike came out. They tried to release a Jeffrey Epstein documentary to keep everyone in their home. Look, you can't. You're not beating Tiger King, okay? There's not. Tiger King was nothing we had ever seen before. Stranger than fiction. Everything that needs to be said about Jeffrey Epstein has already been said. And honestly, to be quite frank, I don't know why any of it was even a revelation in the first place. Yes, we are run by pedophiles from the top down. Most people, not all, but most people who are willing to seek a position where they want to control you are probably a sexual deviant of some sort. That's from the President of the United States all the way down to your local utility board director who's been sucking the taxpayer's tit for the last 30 years and probably sacrifices orphans in his basement. So I looked at the profile, or excuse me, at the protests. I noticed 5 types of people there other than the cops. You had curious or morbidly curious bystanders who just wanted to go down and see what was happening, which includes press. We'll include that. Excuse me. You had black people who were legitimately there to protest, which they should, because it was a terrible thing that happened. You had white liberals, younger, 18, early 20s, college age, you know, the Joe Biden type, I'm with Bernie, but I'll vote for Joe Biden, and, because reasons, who were there to look good for their Instagram picture, because holding a Instagram profile, because holding a Black Lives Matter sign gives them that social media credit they want from their peers that mommy and daddy never gave them because they stuck them in front of the TV for 18 years growing up. Definitely didn't expect to get hit in the face with tear gas, though. Obviously, I hate seeing a militarized police state. I think what the police have done in a lot of these cases has been disgusting, but white college liberals thinking they're going to show up and just have a fun social media moment and then getting their asses kicked is kind of funny to me. I'm sorry. It's a funny thing to watch. Okay. You had Antifa, full-blown commies who were there to cause chaos. And then you had professional criminals who were taking advantage of an unfortunate situation. Those were the 5 people you had there. And then it heated up in my city of Omaha, Nebraska, Saturday night. The owner of a shitty club in Omaha called the Hive and the Gatsby. It's 2 different. It's hard to explain. They're in the same building, though. Shot a young black man. But so shot this young man, killed him. And the only evidence they had for the night was, or throughout the weekend, was a really, really poorly taken Snapchat video, which, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. If I was about to watch a fight and someone pulled out a gun, I probably wouldn't be recording it very, I would probably look like Michael J. Fox on the camera as well. That's all I'm saying. So it was big speculation. Nobody knew what was going on. Douglas County District Attorney came out and said, or Douglas County Prosecutor came out and said, we're not going to prosecute him. We're not going to seek charges. And they showed the video. They explained why. Let me tell you guys something. This guy who shot this kid is a dirtball. I don't know anything about the kid other than hearsay. I'm not going to go into detail what I know about the guy. He is a dirtball. No way around that. But the thing is, you can't watch that video unobjectively and tell me that wasn't self-defense. You have 2 pieces of evidence. You have a video. You have an 80-year-old father in the hospital that was blasted 10 feet through the air, and you can see that on video. And then you have a video of him running over to see what was going on, saying, hey, who shoved my dad? Which I feel is reasonable. And then you have, in that same video, this individual with the gun gets surrounded
by about 5 or 6 people, one of whom puts him in a chokehold. They say they were trying to disarm him, but if you watch the video, it goes over, the confrontation happens, they start moving toward him. That's when he flashes the gun. They didn't know he had the gun until he flashed it. He shot them while one of them, he fired a warning shot. He backed down. They shoved him to the ground. The gun was not drawn until someone had him had their arms around his neck. I'm not here to defend this guy's character. I'm not. But the thing is, scumbags have a right to defend themselves too. You can't watch that video with impunity and tell me that that was not self-defense. Of course it sucks that a kid is dead. Of course, Mr. Gardner and his father should not have left their bar. But if James Spurlock has a right to be on the street, Jake Gardner does too. They do not have the right to assault him, regardless of what was said. It's a shit situation all around. But the guy on the camera is heard yelling, "He's got a gun." If I'm about to fight somebody, whether I'm with just me or 5 of my friends, if I'm about to fight somebody and one of my friends yells, "He's got a gun," I'm walking away. I don't know, like, it's a bad situation. He put himself in a bad situation. That doesn't mean he has to die, though. I'm speaking to Gardner. He shouldn't have walked outside. I agree. He should have stayed home and dealt with, because here's the thing. Jake Gardner's life is over. He's not going to jail, but his life is over. Already been evicted from his business, which probably would have happened anyway, they said. He will never, I mean, he's going to have to change his name. He's going to have to move states. He's constantly going to have to live, you know, I don't know where he's going to find work. He's going to constantly live in fear and paranoia that someone is going to try and kill him. His life is over. But at the end of the day, what was he supposed to do? You got 5 people encroaching on you. Are you just supposed to die? This is not a hill I want to die on defending this guy, but it's a national issue that needs to be addressed. I don't know what he's supposed to do. And they make the argument that, oh, it should be taken to trial anyway. That's not how it works. You have a clear case of self-defense to someone who's unbiased, which I was. I was biased against Gardner, if anything. And then I saw that video. I'm like, that ain't the move, Chief. Sit this one out. So anyone who's watching that video that's not biased, I mean, can see that that's a clear-cut case of self-defense. You're wasting everybody's money taking that to court. And then the other argument was that his CCW permit was expired. Now, the COVID that y'all shut everything fucking down for makes it hard for people to get their licenses renewed. I don't know if that was the case or if it had been expired for longer or whatever. But if a woman shoots a would-be rapist and her CCW is expired, does that make her a murderer? That's your same logic. If a gun's used in self-defense but your CCW is expired, you're automatically doing time for murder? Let's see the same energy. The law can't look at Jake Gardner as a racist scumbag unless it played in. Unless you had proof that he was going out to kill somebody because of their race, they can't look at him as that. They gotta say, look, dude got attacked, dude defending himself. And the thing is, this is the perfect villain. They couldn't have drawn up a better villain. You got a dude who's racist, gun-toting club owner, scumbag nightclub owner that fucking worked for the Trump campaign. He's friends with Trump Jr. They couldn't, when I say they, I mean the mainstream media. They could not have drawn up a better villain for this case. But guys, with that said, even with all that, this isn't murder. It's not. You can't. It sucks. I know it does, but there's nothing else you can do in this scenario. There was a lot of things that led up to it, mistakes on both sides that led up to that shooting. Neither of them should have been there, but they both were. And one group attacked one guy after assaulting his elderly father. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't know. And then you see these posts like on Facebook from white liberals who have not left their home out of just fear for the last 4 days. With that MLK quote, that picture quote, a riot is the language of the unheard. Yeah, it ain't nobody hearing them because you ain't left your house, because you're scared. My favorite one was, we're living in a history textbook chapter right now. When your kids are learning about this in school one day, they're going to ask you what you were doing. What do you want to tell them? Like, well, first off, there's not going to be school. Okay, this is COVID. I'm going to teach my kids whatever I want when I'm homeschooling them, because we're never going back to school, right? That's just the thing. I'm going to teach my kids what I want. And if there's a chapter of history, just like the public schools do, if there's a part of history that I don't want the kids to learn about, I'm just not going to fucking tell them. And if I acted like a bitch during a certain time in history, we're just going to pretend it never happened. Wipe it off the fucking map. Public school system's done that for years. Your kids don't learn about Waco in school. They just started learning about the fucking Trail of Tears, Japanese internment. That's a little blip on the radar. The Trail of Tears and Japanese internment are blips on the fucking radar of the education, of the history classes in the education system, or at least through public schools. Say, hey, remember that time we tried to genocide all the Native Americans? Here's a little paragraph on it. We'll give you a full page on the time that FDR, renowned socialist hero, went around and rounded up Japanese people in camps, and all the fucking leftists today still side with him and defend it. Oh, it was a different time. It was wartime. What? That's my favorite, is watching leftists turn into full-blown alt-right. Just maniacs defending FDR. It is the best thing in the world. It's fucking hilarious. But seriously, what do you want to tell your kids you did? What did you do to advance your cause? You turned your profile picture on Instagram black for a day, and then went out and beat up some old bitch that runs a fucking new age gift shop. She sells little incense burners, and you went out and clubbed her on the head because that's how you advance justice? I get the rioting. I get it. I understand why you're upset. I'm upset too. But, like, here's my thing. What did you do to advance your cause, bro? Like, it's white liberals that are posting this bullshit. They are the most laughable people on earth. Like, everyone turned their profile pictures black. 400 years of racism, gone, erased. No longer an issue in this country. Gone. If you wanted to actually do something to advance your cause, you would vote for politicians, or for people. A start would be voting for people running for office, not members of the two parties that have enforced the drug war and unconstitutional gun laws and stop and frisk and civil asset forfeiture and all kinds of shit that has directly targeted minorities since they were founded. Yes, even gun laws disproportionately target minorities. They always have. Look at the Black Panthers. in California back in was the 60s or 70s. The NRA, love them or hate them. I hate them now, but back in the day, they were originally formed to teach slaves, freed slaves, how to defend themselves. I mean, you seen the movie Free State of Jones is a true story. Jim Crow was the first gun control laws in this country was to keep black people from being able to protect themselves from the KKK. The reason that church shooting in South Carolina they made a big deal about years ago, it was terrible. They made a big deal about, you know, churches in South Carolina were gun-free zones. Do you know why churches in South Carolina were gun-free zones? Because the KKK liked to go around burning churches during Reconstruction. And black people started arming themselves and defending themselves. So the governments in the South came out and they're like, nah, you can't carry a gun in church anymore. White people didn't need it. Nobody was fucking with white churches. But now you just disarm, you created a bunch of soft targets in churches, people gather. And now you know they're unarmed. You go in and just start fucking popping people. Gun laws are racist. So you're still going to vote for the Republicans and Democrats that for the last 300 years have enforced those bills or have supported and fucking written those bills. 94 crime legislation. You're going to go out and vote for Joe Biden. If you white liberals really want to help your black friends, stop feeding the two-party system. Just stop. That's what's killing black people is the militarized police state. That these people are enforcing, the Republicans and Democrats. That's what's killing black people. Yes, it's the police, obviously. There's a serious problem with police in this country. Fuck the Minneapolis police. They have a sign you can buy on one of their affiliate websites with their logo on it that says they go out and, fuck, I don't even remember what it was. It was like, protecting the ungrateful. Just the act of the amount of disgust they have for the people that they sign up to supposedly protect. You've got your logo on it. Could you imagine if let's take like a business that interacts with the local public, your local grocery store, not the chain like Walmart, your local grocery store. If they released a poster or something with their logo on it, calling the residents of your town ungrateful, they would be out of business by the end of the month. The amount of disgust police officers have, they're not signing up for the job. Some of them are, I'm sure. But the job is not about protecting you. They call you ungrateful. They have disgust. They despise you. There is a problem with the people who are taking these jobs. It's not attracting good people right now, and that's the problem. Sorry, I'm in rant mode right now. I'm Alex Jonesy today, minus the fucking insane conspiracy theories. So I'm just respond to this text message here. There we go. But this Blackout Tuesday thing, which actually turned out to be some type of fucking misinformation thing, right? It turned out to be like a misinformation campaign, but everyone was posting, black pictures. That's not doing anything. It's pissing yourself in dark pants. It makes you feel warm, but nobody notices. It doesn't actually fucking do anything. Like, and these companies with the virtue signaling, not just with this, these companies have to stop with the virtue signaling. It's not doing any good. Nobody cares. These fat fucks are going to go eat at Burger King one way or the other. They don't care how you feel about LGBT rights. Okay? No one's stance on the LGBTQ community is based around what Frito-Lay thinks in the email they sent out to their constituents. if Lunchables turning their profile picture black for a day on Facebook is enough to sway you one way or the other on racial relations in this country, you are fucking a lost cause, bro. You really think some guy that's sitting there and he's like what change is this making besides actually pushing for this legislation to stop? Besides actually trying to figure out real world ways and not just feel good ways that earn you fucking credit from your social media friends that you haven't seen in 3 years. You know, you're burning bridges with your family, that you're making Christmas hella awkward this year if we even make it to Christmas. What guy that's sitting there on the fence that's so twisted, he's like, you know, maybe police officers should be able to just declare open season on unarmed black people and kill them at will. Maybe. What good is it doing to that guy? He's sitting there, oh yeah, you know, I don't think George Floyd got murdered. Oh my God. 3 days grace just posted a picture of nothing on Instagram. It makes fucking sense now. It all makes perfect sense. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Before we peace out, let's take a look. Let's go down a list. The list of the 4 most recent controversial police killings. We're gonna go down them. Okay. Number 1, you got George Floyd. Well, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the events that led up to them getting killed. Not in an attempt of victim shame, so fucking stay with me here. Okay, just wait. I'm going to get to a point at the end. George Floyd. Why did the cops show up? Because they thought he was using a counterfeit $20 bill. First off, imagine how shitty that gas station attendant must feel that took a look at that 20 and went, I don't think that's real. How do it fuck Jake Gardner? Where's that guy? He's responsible for all of this. But George Floyd, counterfeit $20 bill, allegedly. We don't even know if that happened. I'll tell y'all what, man. Counterfeit money is way more prevalent in our society than you think. A lot of people have used counterfeit money. Especially if you've done a lot of shit on buy, sell, trade on like Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, Craigslist, back pages. Well, not underage sex trafficking. We'll avoid that. But if you've done business on those like third-party websites, you have probably come in contact with counterfeit bills. You have probably handed an unknowing gas station attendant or bank teller a counterfeit bill. You probably have. I mean, that did you have ill intent when you did it? No. Would they arrest you for it? Probably, or they come down and give you a fine or whatever. Same thing with bad checks. People close their bank accounts, their account gets hacked, they switch banks, and they accidentally keep the checks with them. They're at the grocery store, they write a check from the wrong account, don't realize it. 3 months later, they get pulled over for a busted taillight. They got a fucking warrant for a bad check. Not bad people. Not everyone. I mean, it's not. They tried initially to make it sound like George Floyd was printing these bills off in his home. People get counterfeit cash, man. It is what it is. It's part of life. It's not. It doesn't mean they were trying to rip you off. People get fooled sometimes. You know, and a lot of these bills look fucking real. So it's like you wouldn't know unless you had the marker, and sometimes they pass that. You know, you got to hold it up to under black light and shit. And the UV light that'll cure coronavirus in a minute. Pretty powerful. Then you got Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed by an ex-cop, so this one's kind of cheating, but we're still going to count it. What did they kill him for? Because he looked like a guy who walked into a construction site. Best case scenario, if you get caught walking into a construction site, they ask you to leave. Worst case, they give you a $75 trespassing fine. He was killed over that. Duncan Lemp, number 3. Duncan Lemp, you probably don't know who that is. Duncan Lemp was killed by the police under a red flag law and a no-knock warrant. Someone said he shouldn't have had firearms, and he was posting anti-government memes. That was it. Broke into his house, killed him in his sleep. Through the wall. Killed for sharing anti-government Facebook memes. Breonna Taylor. And this is the worst. There's all four of them. She was killed she was killed because of a wrong address on a no-knock warrant. Then her boyfriend, who fired back with his legal gun, was arrested for attempted murder and smeared by the police union. You see the problem here. Do you see a pattern? Breonna Taylor's crime was that her address was 2 digits away from her neighbors. The 3 looked like a 5. They killed her in her sleep as well. Her neighbor may have received a suspicious package. That was her crime. Living next to somebody who may or may not have been a drug dealer. That was it. The thin blue line is a fucking gang. Police unions are gangs. They don't snitch on their friends. It's a fucking gang. I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. What am I getting at here, though? There is no law so petty that the state won't fucking kill you to enforce it. We can go down the list for days of people who have been killed over victimless crimes, non-violent crimes. There is nothing that the state will not execute you in public for or in your home. And the worst thing about the Duncan Lemp thing is there's been a movement to get the body cam footage released for over a month in that case. However, that same department had an encounter with an individual who attacked them with a knife, and they killed him. They released the body cam footage the next day. Still haven't seen Duncan Lemp because he was murdered in cold blood. You got cops shooting people in the face with tear gas canisters, fucking attempted murder caught on video, dragging people out of their vehicles and beating them. And granted, there are rioters dragging people out of their vehicles and beating them as well. There is a problem with policing in this country. It is broken. The state is the problem. But for some reason, half of y'all that agree with me right now are going to go out and you're going to report your fucking neighbors for having barbecues with more than 10 people. You're going to advocate for these same cops that hit you in the face with fucking tear gas and rubber bullets and pepper spray and maybe even killed one of your friends to go into the fucking park and arrest people for playing on playgrounds or basketball or not wearing masks because that's what you've been told because you hop from bandwagon to bandwagon. You don't think for yourself. You're going to ask these same cops the next time a mass shooting happens to take away your neighbor's gun, even if your neighbor is a black man. You're going to ask for them to take away his AR-15 because you are a fucking mindless drone. You've been Deepish Thoughts. I'm Caleb Salvatore, NorthSpokaneCBD.com. Promo code DRUNK, 15% off your order. Peace out, motherfuckers.